I've been working with quite a lot of people recently who are struggling with their working life. They are finding work more like an energy draining toil rather than something that gives them enthusiasm and excitement and makes them feel alive. And it struck me that on that journey to making your working life more exciting and enthusiastic, you need to make three core decisions. So the first decision is you need to decide to be happy. And the reason I say that, that sounds quite easy to say and hard to do, but the people that I say that I see that are struggling the most with work are the people who are quite happy to get up in the morning, to open their emails, start going through their work priorities and their work tasks, rather than invest in themselves. So one of the things I recommend to everybody is have a very structured morning routine where you invest in your physical well-being, your mental well-being, your emotional well-being, and your spiritual well-being. So an hour or so invested in yourself is a really solid way to find happiness. And when I talk about happiness, I mean traits like contentment and peace and fullness and freedom and feeling whole and aligned. And it's incredible how many people won't invest the time to feel like that because they say work is in the way. And for me, if you want to find a life that's meaningful, the grounding is you have to invest in yourself. You have to decide to be happy and peaceful. And that means prioritizing yourself over these work commitments, which seem to be the cause of much of the problem. So that's the first decision. The second decision is to decide to be fulfilled. And again, that sounds quite easy to do or say, and maybe not so easy to do. And the reason why that's maybe not as easy is that the question is what do you really want? And that's what do you really want at the deepest level. So when you think about, oh, what do you want? A lot of the things that immediately come to mind are usually things that have been passed down to us from our parents or from our schools, our peers, or the community. We judge ourselves based on what others say and what others do, rather than taking the time to understand who we are at the deepest level and what makes us tick. Because only when we know that, when we know who we are as the true self, so to speak, can we then find activities and work that satisfies and fulfills that deep quench, that deep need as an inner need, rather than the usual metrics like what do I want? I want more money, I want more status, etc., which are very ego-driven, false self desires, which are usually fed to us by other people. So that's the second decision to make. Decide to be fulfilled, and that requires you to know who you are at the deepest level. And then the third decision is to decide to act. So once you've made that first decision and you're investing yourself and you're able to find much more sense of grounding and peace and contentment regardless of what's going on outside, and then you decide to be fulfilled and you go on the journey to find out what you want at the deepest level, the next thing you need to do is decide to act on that. You need to move forward. You need to move towards that sense of purpose that you find at that deeper level. And that's when and again, a number of people come fall foul because they decide not to act, mainly because of fear or doubt or guilt. So there are sort of emotions there that stop us from seeing out our sort of dream job or our purpose in life. And that's when actually the whole cycle comes back again, because the inner work that you're required to do to be happy, which is the morning routine, which are things like meditation, contemplation, journaling, those sorts of things, that sort of inner work, and dealing with the fears that are arising, dealing with the guilt that are arising, and understanding the stories that we're telling ourselves that is making that those fears and guilt come to the fore. That sort of brings us back to deciding to be happy. And so that's my advice for people. If you are feeling stuck in work, if you're feeling like it's a bit of a grind and you're really desperate to find more meaning in life and more meaning from your work, but not sure how to go about it, those are the three decisions you need to make. Decide to be happy, decide to be fulfilled, and decide to act. And And those are the things that I guide people through on my course. So that's what I wanted to share today, and I hope that's been of some use. Thank you.